Good afternoon. We welcome you to our presentation on teaching financial literacy to adults. Our group consists of Macy Colley, Justin Dawes, Brittany Dowies, William Hines, Catherine Segur, and Justine Thoreau. We have generated this PowerPoint as part of our course requirements for HRE 4025, Principles of Adult Education. My name is Brittany Dowies, and I will be the presenter for our presentation. We ask that you turn your volume all the way up and invite you to take notes as necessary. We hope you enjoy our presentation and find it useful in your future teachings of financial literacy programs to adult learners.
Your mother asked me to come up here and kill you.
Hey, I know.
You know what?
What you gonna say? And it's under control. So,
No problem. Right. How do you expect to get into college with grades like this?
No problem.
Huh?
See, I'm not going to college.
Damn right.
I am gonna get through high school and then get a job like regular people.
Regular people?
Yeah, you know, work in the gas station, drive a bus, something like that.
So what you're saying is your mother and I shouldn't care if you get D's because you don't need good grades to be regular people.
Right.
Okay. Oh, suppose you graduate from high school. Let's say you just slide by. All right, now you got to find a job. Now, what kind of salary do you expect for a regular person?
$250 a week.
$250 a week?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'm going to give you $300 a week. Yes, indeed. $300 a week, $1,200 a month. All right?
Great, I'll take it.
Yes, you will. And I will take $350 for taxes.
Whoa.
Huh? Yeah. Now, because, see, the government comes for the regular people first. Now, how much does that leave you with?
$850.
All right. Now, you've got to have an apartment because you are not going to live here. So, an apartment in Manhattan will run you at least $400 a month.
I'll live in New Jersey.
All right. You live in New Jersey, you've got to have a car.
I'll ride a motorbike.
You need a helmet. Figure $100 a month for clothes and shoes.
Figure 200. I want to look good.
Okay, so what does that leave you with?
$200. So, no problem.
There is a problem. You haven't eaten yet.
I can get by on bologna and cereal. So, I got everything I need, plus $200 left for the month.
You plan to have a girlfriend?
For sure.
Regular people.
Although the video you just watched is more focused on financial literacy of teenagers, we thought it was a great way to point out the overall importance of teaching financial education because lots of people in today's society are like Theo was in this Cosby Show clip and do not really understand the basics of finances. Many adults did not receive financial literacy education or training in school. Thus, the information they gained from others while growing up, be it family, friends, or school, laid their financial management foundation. This lack of formal training may have led to habits that are not productive. Some adults have never learned how to design or follow a budget, balance a checkbook, or establish credit in a responsible way. That's why financial literacy education is so important. It allows adults to gain the knowledge and skills for them to effectively manage their money and reach their own financial goals. In our presentation, we will be discussing some of the theories of adult learning and how they can be applied to design and deliver financial education programs that will result in high levels of knowledge transfer from training into the everyday lives of learners. Therefore, our objectives are to decrease lack of interest in financial literacy classes, increase retention of knowledge and skill by learners, and increase the likelihood that learners will apply information learned in the financial literacy classes to their everyday lives. We hope that our presentation serves as a guide and gives you pointers that will help you to accomplish these goals in your personal teachings of financial literacy programs. Before we get any further, let's take a look at some of the formal definitions of financial literacy provided by several national organizations. According to the National Financial Educators Council, financial literacy is possessing the skills and knowledge on financial matters to confidently take effective action that best fulfills an individual's personal, family, and global community goals. The U.S. Financial Literacy and Education Commission has a similar definition. They define it as the ability to make informed judgments and to take effective actions regarding the current and future use and management of money. Financial literacy includes the ability to understand financial choices, plan for the future, spend wisely and manage, and be ready for life events like job loss or saving for retirement. Informed is the term at the heart of the definition, which is effective use of information in the decision-making process that separates the more from the less literate decision. Now that we've clarified the meaning of financial literacy, let's take a look at the comparisons between financial education and adult education. The need for financial education in the professional world is pretty understood now. However, trainers in the field of financial education are often not professional educators. Therefore, the two fields of financial education and adult education are very different. The financial education field is informal, specialized, and fairly new, but the field of adult education is much larger and there is significant research on the learning processes of adults. We are not saying that the two fields are opposite. We just wanted to note that there is much more research in the adult education field, and that the two go hand in hand. With that being said, we believe that trainers in the financial education world can benefit from the research theories in adult education when it comes to creating their financial literacy curriculums. So let's take a look at some of the research that's been done in the world of adult education. Malcolm Knowles was a pioneer in the field of adult learning. We have decided to discuss his model of andragogy in detail and how it can be applied to financial literacy education. Knowles developed the theory of andragogy to overcome the negative aspects associated with pedagogy. Andragogy can be defined as a scientific discipline that studies everything related to learning and teaching, which would bring adults to their full degree of humanness. In his book, Knowles addresses the 5 assumptions associated with adult learners. These characteristics should be of great significance to educators who are developing financial literacy programs. His 5 assumptions are self-concept, experience, readiness to learn, orientation to learning, and motivation to learn. These 5 assumptions are discussed in greater detail in the YouTube video located on the next slide.
created using Powtoon.
Educational theorist David Kolb's four-step process, known as the experiential learning cycle, is also a useful tool to reference when it comes to financial literacy for adults. It explains how adults learn by analyzing information as it relates to their own personal experiences. The four processes are concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. His learning cycle is explained in the YouTube video, which can be found on the next slide.
Hi class, I will be telling you about Kolb's learning style theory. Learning styles vary for each person. There are several studies about learning styles, but one of the most studied theories is David Kolb's learning style theory. He shows how people perceive and process information through a learning cycle and learning styles. Kolb believes there is a learning cycle that involves four processes for learning to occur. He further developed the four learning styles. Kolb theorizes that the four-stage learning process includes concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. Each process needs to be met for learning to be effective. Through concrete experience, a person has a new experience or experiences something they have already done. Then the person reflects on what happened. Next, they make changes to the previous idea or come up with a new idea. Finally, the person takes what they learned and tests it. The process may be entered at any stage and continue through the cycle effectively. The cycle then leads to the four learning styles. The four learning styles Kolb developed are accommodating, diverging, assimilating, and converging. Accommodators are often leaders and usually get things done in an efficient time. They use concrete experience and active experimentation. They feel and do. They tend to work well in crisis situations and adapt well to new situations. Divergers feel and watch. They had rather watch than be hands-on. They work well in groups and like to think of several different ideas. They take time to understand problems and come up with new solutions. Assimilators learn through abstract concepts and process the information reflectively. They think and watch. They tend to learn through reading, research, and thinking and working alone. They seek expertise and are motivated by an expert in mastery. Convergers think and do. They are common sense learners and usually dislike group work. They like to find the correct answer quickly. They prefer hands-on activities and like to experiment. Some may wonder what kind of learner they are based on these styles, but everyone uses each style at one point or another. In every learning environment, there is at least one or more of each type of learner. In a classroom, each student will learn and perceive information differently than the next, so teachers should use a combination of learning styles. When designing their lesson plan, they should include each style. For accommodators, trial and error is important, so trying problems in class for a completion grade, rather than just grading the homework, is helpful to them. Divergers want to watch and listen, which means they participate less often. They need to be rewarded in some way since they aren't as active. For the assimilators, a class timeline is helpful. It allows students to know what will be covered and where they are throughout the class. Handouts with the rules for projects are also helpful. For convergers, applying the material is important, so trying problems in class is helpful for the convergers as well as the accommodators. Since people use more than one style, all of these suggestions could help the whole class. Kolb's learning styles are some of the most known and useful learning styles. He uses the processes for learning and the learning styles to explain how a person perceives and processes information. Students are more prevalent to one style, but use all of these styles at one point or another. In a learning environment, students should see each style so that all students are accommodated to.
There are many other models besides David Kolb's model available to understand the learning styles of adult learners. Another popular model is the VAC model. It identifies the three distinct groups of learners. They are the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic or tactile learners. These three learning styles are outlined in the video provided on the next slide.
Created using Powtoon.
We have given many different examples of models and theories that describe the way in which adults learn. However, no two learners are the same, so educators of financial literacy programs should keep this in mind when developing their training programs. It is crucial for these educators to incorporate activities that will foster the many different learning styles that we just discussed. We will now talk about the 4 points that facilitators need to keep in mind when creating financial literacy programs. Many of these points reflect what we have just discussed in regards to adult education research. They go hand in hand. Educators of adult financial literacy programs must 1. Understand the learner. 2. Set clear goals. 3. Select effective instruction methods. And 4. Choose appropriate curriculums. Understanding the learner is the first step in preparing a training program. Assessing the audience is the most critical factor because different audiences pose different challenges. Assessment should discover a learner's wants, needs, and abilities. The principles of adult learning that we discussed earlier should be taken into consideration as well. The most effective teaching methods need to be established. Keep in mind the many barriers to financial education. Pessimism and low self-esteem are two common barriers that come out in the topic of finance. Personal differences should also be kept in mind because decisions are influenced by one's ethnic group, educational level, class, income status, or gender. And lastly, facilitators should engage in ongoing observations of the audience. This will enhance the delivery of the financial training. When it comes to setting goals, both educators and learners should clearly understand the goals of the particular financial literacy training program. Goals should be written to incorporate outcomes. What should the learner be able to do at the end of the training, and in what time frame? The goals of financial literacy programs should be broken down into smaller parts that can be easily measured. Clear goals allow the learner to see positive outcomes. Although much training today is done in lecture format, lectures have limited effectiveness for the adult learners in today's society. This was noted in our previous discussion of adult learning theories. Adults are more likely to retain material that is gained through experience. Interactive sessions help participants because learning is done in a more conducive environment. The National Training Laboratories conducted a study that tested the average retention rate after 24 hours of material presented to adults through a variety of different methods. The results revealed that teaching others and practicing by doing were the most effective methods. In addition, materials and topics should be organized to provide tools for life applications. Small group exercises are a good way for trainers to reach out to learners as well. They then have the ability to walk around and ask questions while observing individuals in the training. Curriculums need to be flexible to meet the needs of learners and follow the principles outlined in Knowles' model of andragogy. The National Standards for Adult Financial Literacy Education identifies the specific knowledge and skills an adult should possess in regards to financial literacy. The Council advises that trainers design programs that appeal to multiple learning styles. Their website outlines 5 broad categories that can be used as a guideline in developing the curriculum for your financial literacy training program. The first standard outlined by the Council deals with the learner's ability to recognize how cash flow management and net worth analysis can be used as tools to achieve financial goals. The second standard of credit is concerned with learners knowing how and where to obtain credit and know the implications of using and misusing credit. Third is debt management. Participants of a financial literacy education program should be able to recognize how using debt can be a tool for asset building. The fourth standard of risk management ensures that learners can use appropriate risk management strategies to protect assets and their quality of life. Lastly, investment and retirement planning. This example curriculum teaches participants to implement investment and retirement strategies to achieve financial goals. These standards are a good guideline to use when developing the curriculum for your financial literacy program. However, it should be noted that no single financial literacy program can result in an adult that is financially literate. Financial literacy is a lifelong process, but you are giving participants some of the components that will help them become more financially literate. Through our study of the research regarding this topic, we have developed a list of 8 key elements necessary for an effective financial literacy program for adults. These elements can serve as a guide in creating programs because they are meant to help participants learn while pulling from their own past experiences. This will provide them with needed motivation and hopefully achieve the high level of transference that is desired by all facilitators. You may find that many of the points we make overlap with previous discussion, but that shows how crucial it is for developing programs for adult leaders. A skilled facilitator is necessary for a training to be efficient and engaging. Their role is different from the traditional teacher or trainer role, where the teacher possesses all the essential information and just fills the minds of students with information. Instead, they provide the framework for the thinking, doing, and discussing. The facilitator also has the responsibility of developing a training that is reflective of the possible learning styles of learners, like mentioned earlier. Adults are busy and want quick solutions to their problems. They want a financial literacy program that will give them that. Otherwise, they may feel like they are wasting their time. This aligns with the adults wanting learning to be motivating. If they feel like they are wasting their time, they will not be motivated, which in turn decreases the effectiveness of the financial literacy program. The content delivered in a financial literacy program must align with the needs of the participants. This should be determined by a needs assessment prior to the development of a program. Relevant content will keep learners motivated. Like discussed earlier, adults learn by applying their past experiences. They bring lots of life experiences to trainings, so it is important for trainers to tap into that experience during the training. This will provide them with a richer learning opportunity. Having a diverse set of learners makes the learning experience richer. However, it can be a difficult aspect for trainers to take into consideration when developing programs. There may be people from different countries, religions, stages in the family life cycle, etc., as well as a wide range of ages, education and income levels, and experience. These things must be kept in mind when thinking of program design and delivery. Financial literacy programs should be held in locations that are easily accessible for as many participants as possible. The environment should be capable of hosting group activities as well as the traditional lecture. These locations should also be oriented towards adults. Having a financial education program in an infant daycare may not be the best idea. The schedules of potential participants should be kept in mind when developing a time for programs. It's hard to have an effective training with nobody in attendance. And lastly, evaluations measure the effect the training had on participants. Feedback is crucial for improving future financial literacy programs. Transference is the extent to which adults are able to apply information learned in an educational program to their everyday lives. Because most adults are interested in improving and bettering their existing financial situations, there is the potential for a high level of transference in financial literacy education. However, there are still roadblocks that may stand in the way of a successful financial literacy program. They are adults' dependence on the way things have always been done, a continuation of previously learned behaviors that are deeply rooted in their belief and value system, poor quality of financial literacy education experiences, and lack of encouragement from others to save, live within one's means, and build assets they may appreciate over time. In order to have a financial literacy program that best assists adults in their learning, we believe that you should keep in mind each of the points we have made throughout our presentation. By looking at some of the adult learning models that have been established, facilitators can have greater effectiveness with their financial literacy programs, which will achieve the objectives we established at the beginning and overcome the challenges and roadblocks we just discussed. We hope you have found our presentation beneficial to you. Best of luck in your future endeavors of developing your own adult financial literacy programs. Thank you.